So I've been thinking a lot about my music life lately because it's actually starting up again. I did my first performance in 3 years at the open mic, just a small thing to get going again. And then I've been going to other gigs and just generally reconnecting with the scene because it's been a while. And last week I went to a show that at the start of it had an industry panel, which is basically women in the local metal scene and how they've come through it, different challenges they've had, because, heavy genres, traditionally male dominated, and it definitely was 10 years ago, especially for me as a screamer, a local female screamer. I didn't really know anyone else doing what I was doing back then. It was all international. Whereas now, they had a whole panel of them. And yeah, so that was kind of interesting. To cut to the chase, though, what it made me think of was what the music industry kind of expects of me these days, because one of the panelists, she actually works in the business side, representing musicians and doing PR for them. And then another panelist, actually, she knows a lot about marketing and was running marketing courses. I don't know if she's still doing that, but that's the thing. And so and pretty much everyone on stage, they all know a lot about promoting your music. And so I did get to talk to one of them afterwards in a bit of detail about what I should be doing, because I want to get more gigs. Gigging is the fun part for me. When she asked what's my goals, I just want to be on stage. I don't really care how big the stage is. I just want to be on stage. And the advice that she gave to me, I don't think I can follow. I was being positive at the time and, trying to accept the help. But the more I think about it, the more I realize it's just not for me. And so what was that advice? Well, the main thing she was saying is, in terms of promoting on social media, am I on Instagram? Yes. Am I on TikTok? No. And, particularly Reels, Shorts, TikTok video type content, that short content, that is how you promote at the moment, apparently. And I mentioned, I'm on YouTube and I do make shorts, and she's like, great, you can translate that over to Instagram Reels and TikTok very easily. But when I think about it, my shorts, they're not exactly promoting my music. Yes, I make them, but I know it's not what she would have had in mind. And, the thing is, with Instagram, I'm happy to post Instagram stories that disappear after 24 hours, because I don't know, when I have Facebook. Facebook is a bit of a junkyard in the same way that YouTube is. YouTube is a bit more publicly a junkyard. My private Facebook is a mess. My public Facebook stuff is a bit more clean, still sometimes messy, but it's a little bit more clean. And so with Instagram, the only reason I even got on Instagram is because my Japanese family wouldn't go on Facebook, even though it's the same company, and I don't know, it's some cultural thing. So I got on Instagram, and I thought, well, if I'm here, I might as well try and make it at least look a bit more polished. And I just feel like posting a bunch of reels that are just me doing garbage stuff, it's not what I want to be polluting my Instagram with. And then TikTok. Okay, let's say that I did have good content, because if I had good enough stuff, maybe I would post it as a reel on Instagram, but it would be much more curated compared to what my YouTube is. Now, TikTok, this is where I really start to have problems, because I am not a fan of TikTok. Obviously, there's the Chinese Communist Party connection, and I know they've tried to do things, and wasn't Donald Trump going to ban it? Whatever happened to that? Did he just taco on it? I don't know. I haven't kept up with what the future of TikTok is and the connections to the Communist Party and all the shady stuff going on behind that. But apart from that, there's been all these concerns, and we get all outraged like it's poisoning the kids' minds and all this kind of stuff. But I should be on it anyway. And I'm just like, you know what? That's not the platform for me. I'm too old for that shit anyway at this point. But yeah, and then, more practically, it's just too many platforms to pay attention to. I'm struggling to be any sort of consistent as it is with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Facebook kind of doesn't count, I guess. I mainly use it for personal stuff. And when I do post on Facebook, often it's just cross-posted from Instagram anyway. So maybe Instagram and YouTube. Instagram being slightly more polished, except once Punk Rave Australia stopped giving me reviews to do, it did get a bit more chaotic, because I'm I don't even know what to post now. I can't even be consistent with YouTube and Instagram. Good luck to me figuring out TikTok on top of that. So there's that thing, but that was the main advice that I got, and yeah, just thinking about it, I'm like, no. And then lately I've also been applying to, like, you know, I've seen a few organizers who have said, hey, bands, if you want to play, hit us up at this email or fill out this form or whatever. And so I've done some of that. There's a few more venues that I haven't hit up yet, but yeah, there's some of that I've looked at. And one of them on their form had a box that was like social media links. And they gave as examples like either your Instagram link or your Spotify link. I don't know if they expected that. I just put my Bandcamp rather than doing any of the things they said, because my Instagram doesn't really show the music and I don't have Spotify. But seeing the Spotify there made me think about that again. And also I recently saw, actually, Lauren of Oratech, she posted something on her Instagram stories about whatever bullshit Spotify has done this time that is not good for artists. Like, there's constantly stuff coming out about how Spotify is fucking over artists. And I just don't like the whole way that Spotify works. Like, even if they weren't doing shady stuff behind the scenes, the fact that you have to go to a third party and pay them money just to get your stuff on this platform that will only pay you like 1 cent if you're lucky at my level, why would I bother? Why would I waste my time? And apparently a lot of those third-party distributors, depending on who you go with, how big your profile is, it can be very hard to get them to fix problems when they arise, and there's just no control for the artist. You're paying them money and you don't even have control over how everything is working. And I'm just like, I ain't got time for that. Some of my stuff is on Spotify, but it's only if I've done a collab. You can find the Klawu collab Schism. I did a video, sort of my own dodgy DIY music video. It's the first music video, only music video I've ever done so far, really. Rainbow Death Ray had a dodgy one, but it wasn't really official. The way that came about, I was just like, okay, that wasn't meant to be an official one. No one asked me if that was going to be official. Anyway, it was just like a live video. I think there were 2 of them. Whatever. No, and then the other thing that you can find on Spotify of mine is AD Destroyer, because that's another collab. And I was never responsible for anything that ended up on Spotify. I always, like, you know, I'm happy to compromise. If my band decides they want to be on Spotify, that's cool. I just won't be involved in organizing it. Happy to organize YouTube, happy to organize Bandcamp. I'm not touching Spotify. But the music industry expects you to do these things. It's the industry standard to have your stuff on all these streaming platforms. And, you know, that you're also expected to be on TikTok. And the more I think about it, like, if I want to be serious with my music, and if I want to promote it and get it out there, I probably should be towing the line. But let's be real, my music, you know, when I look at it, like, there's 4 ladies who are doing well for themselves in the local scene and going beyond the local scene as well. Good for them. The difference between their music and my music, though, is quite big, because their stuff has much more mainstream appeal, whereas mine is, like, weird. And especially the song that I've just written that Patreon has had previews of, my Patreon cult, they've stuck with me so long. Like, I was too depressed to do anything for ages, and not posting much content there. Like, I'd managed to scrape something together every month, but no, this month has had a lot more going, and there's even more because I fucked this video up so many times. So they get the botched take where my dog threw up. Anyway, no, they stuck with me through all that. The newest song is just like, it is not commercial. It's a slow grind for most of it before it becomes a dance track, but it's got screaming and it's got all the different vocals that I do. It's crazy. It's probably one of the weirdest songs I've ever written. To the point that I don't think I can release it as a single. I feel like I need to at least write another song so it can be the B-side, or I don't know, maybe I go all the way and do an EP. I do have ideas coming along. Anyway, point being, gosh, I ramble so badly. That's why I botched this video so many times. Point being, my music is never going to have mainstream appeal, so is it really worth me putting in the effort to go on Spotify, go on TikTok? And the thing is, I would have to compromise my values to do so. Like, is it worth it for that? I don't think so. like, this is the thing about the values. Like, I've done so much therapy because I am messed up. I have the depression, I have the schizoid, the trauma, possibly dissociative stuff beyond what's normal in schizoid. I've been in a lot of therapy, and like one of the things my current psychologist tried to do, which a lot of psychologists have struggled with, is the values exercise. And usually they'll ask you about your values, and I always struggle to think, like, what do I even care about? So what my psychologist did was reverse engineer my values, which I found very interesting because she can tell from what I write in my diary and from talking to me and all that, she was able to go backwards and work out what my values are. And then I'm looking at it and going, yeah, fair enough, that describes me pretty well. I may not feel strongly about anything, but she was able to identify my values. And clearly that is something I need to focus on a lot because, if I can't even remember what they are, the thing is, authenticity is kind of one of my things. Obviously, my YouTube is chaos. I am chaos. But the music industry is asking me to go against who I am just to promote my music that most people aren't going to give a shit about anyway. I don't think it's a good trade. I don't think I should sell my soul to promote my music that is not designed to go that far. Like, if I wanted that mainstream appeal, I would not write the music that I do. The music that I write is very much about processing my own shit. Like, what my asexuality EP was about, that whole journey, and dealing with a world that is sex obsessed. And trying to, just does, even at this gig that I went to, the first band that came on, at one point, she's like, are you feeling sexy? You deserve it. Good for her. But I was just like, wow, I have been completely alienated because no one expects aces to be in the audience. We're just completely forgotten. So the asexuality EP is all about that. Then we've got The Truth, which is about the dissociative issues that I have. Then we have Fade, which is, depression and trying to push through everything despite how bad everything gets. All my solo music has been me processing my own stuff. Rainbow Death Ray maybe had a bit more mainstream stuff going on, but when I think about it, a lot of that was the similar kinds of things. I won't go through all the songs, I won't bore you with that. And, even Winter Gone, I think all my music is just about me processing my shit. Because, as a schizoid, I'm not very in touch with my emotions. A lot of it is very deeply suppressed. But one thing I worked out very early on, I would feel a sense of catharsis singing along to stuff. I think that's why I got into it and why, I would just sing like crazy regardless of how it sounds, because it's one of the few ways I can feel things and vent out that steam, along with doing video blogs as venting, but that's not really feeling. The music part is just like feeling it, getting it out, and being sort of processing my shit, basically. So my music is very self-absorbed. It's great if people can relate to it and enjoy it and whatever, but ultimately the motivation is very self-absorbed. It's a bit like what my YouTube started out as. It was just me venting my shit. That's very self-absorbed, and I still often feel like I'm just doing narcissistic shit. But apparently the stuff I do on YouTube helps people, and that's great. Not what I set out to do, but a nice side effect. Anyway, so because I'm not intentionally trying to appeal to anyone or entertain anyone. I'm trying to appeal to myself, entertain myself, and just process my shit, express my shit. That's what my music is. I'm not trying to get a massive audience. I'm not trying to appeal to a massive audience. I know I am rehashing the point, but you get what I'm saying? To do what the music industry wants me to do, even at a local level, it goes against my values. I just want to play gigs. I don't care. I just want to be on the stage and have that adrenaline. I made a video about adrenaline and hedonia a while ago. It's one of the few ways I feel something and feel something good and just sort of get out there, and then have that sense of relief when you get off stage. You're like, I did a good job. Maybe I fucked up something, but it feels good to finally be through it all. Yeah, so, I just been thinking about that a lot. I am not going to get a TikTok. I am not going to get on Spotify. I'm not going to compromise my values. Because here's the other thing. Here's the thing that weirds me out the most, okay? A lot of musicians complain about Spotify treating them badly. But then they give Spotify their business anyway. At what point, like, especially in an alternative genre, like a lot of alternative genre, isn't it meant to be kind of counterculture, you know, rah rah, going against the man, whatever? But then everyone is going for this industry standard shit that they're expected to do. They're towing the line. They're playing the game the way that it's been set out for them to play. I know some of it is like just working out how social media works and exploiting that. But, you know, if Spotify is treating you so badly, why not boycott it? Why not, like, actually stand up for what you believe in? Now, I realize what I am doing with some of this, like, stand up for your values. It's like that whole, you know, go woke, go broke kind of thing. Yeah, sure, I am shooting myself in the foot by not playing the game. But on the other hand, like, values, standing up for what I believe in, and then knowing what my mental health is like, because I did burn out with Rainbow Death Ray, and that wasn't even the full-on promotion stuff that they want you to do, you know, like making constant bonus content to post, you know, paying people to take photos and then posting them all the time, and then, you know, making these elaborate music videos and all that. I still kind of want to do a music video, but I feel like Fade is probably my favorite song that I've ever written, but it's already out. And then do I go back and backtrack, and like once I make one music video, do I need to make videos for everything else? And then I sort of get a bit like, it's too many decisions to make. But, you know, like my mental health, if I try and do all the things that they want me to do, it's just like I can't keep track of it all. I am not on top of things enough to be able to do it all. I know if I tried to work that hard on just like one task of promoting my music, I would just burn out again. Especially now I'm on my own. I don't have that band. I do have another band, but, you know, at least once we get going, hopefully they can do some of the stuff if that's what they want. Yeah, I know what my limits are. And so for me, like, none of it is worth it. And it's better for me to stand up for my values. And look, the people who like my music, I don't know how they'll find me, but I don't even know how people found me on YouTube. Like, people find me. And if they really want to listen to my music, they will go to Bandcamp, pay like $1 or whatever it is for which particular track, and find their own way to listen to it. I know, I'm that fucking avant-garde, like, underground wanker. But I just figure, like, the people who actually like what I do will put in that minor amount of effort to listen to my stuff. And thank you to everyone who does that. The people who want it easy, like, you know, if you go on Spotify, even if you get on a playlist, like, maybe someone will discover you that way, but most people will listen to it once, forget about it, move on to the next song. Like, when there was, like, the time that I did try listening to Spotify, I found it really hard to learn about any bands. Because, you know, it just plays stuff and I'm like, oh, it was okay. I didn't really get into it. Like, the way that I listen to music, I need to listen to an album or whatever. Like, I love putting a CD in the car, so that's one reason to keep my old car. But, you know, just getting used to the music and, you know, learning the song. And once I can sing along to a song, I enjoy it a lot better. Maybe that's just me getting to know music rather than having it as this background noise. I don't consume music that way. Maybe it's because I'm a musician and particularly a singer. I don't know. I just don't think anyone would give a shit. Like, the effort isn't worth it for what I'm making. Yeah, so why compromise my values? Is there anything else I wanted to say? Like, you know, I'm not trying to shit on people who do go to that effort to promote their stuff properly, especially because if your market is more mainstream, or at least like the mainstream half of metal, because metal is not the most mainstream genre, but there are popular stuff like the whole metalcore thing, you know, there are popular arms of it. And so if that's their market and that's how they're going to reach it and it's worth it and they're working hard and they have that ambition, like, go for it. But for me, and, you know, my brand kind of is authenticity and chaos. And so if I did what they're doing, I'm not being true to my brand, my, you know, all that. Like, it just wouldn't make sense for me. And I've got other things that I'm doing. I'm not just a musician. I'm not just focusing on music. I've got YouTube. I've got art. I've got my dog. My attention is far too split to just focus on the one thing and burn myself out doing it when I don't even have ambition. Like, being schizoid, not feeling enough, I don't have that motivation. I think, you know, 10 years ago when I was doing Rainbow Death Ray, I was on medication. That helped. But, you know, eventually what happened, like I did come off the medication, but I did kind of realize at some point, like this isn't, and even when I was on the medication, I wasn't always fine. Like I did get depressed on meds still, just maybe not as bad as I got later. Even being on meds and even with the band going well, I still always had this sense like this isn't the music that I wanted to make. And this isn't the stage persona that I really wanted. It's too bubbly and like hyperactive and colorful, and it's just not what I came to express, or not the way that I wanted to express things. I had that sense, and you know, so it was a very particular time in my life, and that's why Rainbow Death Ray can't come back, because it's not really me. And I got known for, I don't know, like people were sending me unicorns, death metal unicorn t-shirt images for ages after, and I'm just like, I don't even like unicorns, I don't even like rainbows, I don't know how it happened, it just happened, I was on meds, okay? Yeah, like, I burned out, and I just can't, you know, I'm at a stage of my mental health where I just can't go against who I am. You know, like I can't even work normal jobs now, and even bonsai, it just wasn't enough me, and it's just, my body can't handle working in a bonsai nursery. I'm too small, I don't have that kind of endurance to be working with soil all day, all this heavy, like, you know, lifting one heavy weight is hard, but if you've got like a small weight and you're lifting it repetitively, it's just as hard, and my body was broken. Anyway, I couldn't keep doing bonsai. I didn't have passion for it because I don't really have strong passion for anything. I clearly have some kind of drive that I'm not entirely conscious of, and that's why I do music and do art and keep doing YouTube. I got a comment lately. Oh, this really cool comment lately. It was about, sorry, I should have gotten this up. The Missile Happy? It's coming up as the Missile Happy. Interesting. Oh, no. It was a different one. Sorry, the Missile. I'm sorry. No, the Missile Happy was able to get a schizoid diagnosis much faster than me. No, the one that I was thinking of, Rexolol, or just Sol. So this person is saying, you're really someone I look up to. I like how you just keep going even when there's not much pushing you. It shows that you're not doing it for attention or anything. You just have a different reason, something deeper than most people. Honestly, sorry, there's no punctuation. People, honestly, I feel like I want to do the same. It feels like it would take pressure off always having to deal with people, carry their emotions all the time. Yeah, and like that sort of put things in perspective as well. Like I've done a lot of thinking over the last few days, but I'm looking at that, I'm like, yeah, something must be pushing me because I keep going ahead and doing all this stuff, even though quite often I feel empty. But like, if I am going to do stuff, it has to be me. It can't be what everyone else wants. And I think I even wrote something like, I can't do the world's pressures. I only do well when I do me. And like right now I'm stable. Like my mental health is about as stable as it's been as far as I can remember. And I think it's because like I'm doing music, but I'm doing it my way. I can't do what the music industry wants of me, and so I'll never be particularly successful. It's the same with my YouTube. Like I have watched the things about how you become successful on YouTube, and I've just gone, yeah, that's interesting, but that's not me. Yeah, so point being, I just can't, you know, I'm trying to reconnect with the local scene, and it's really cool, like, there's so many people who remember me from Rainbow Death Ray and who've been waiting for me to do stuff and, like, seem genuinely supportive, and, yeah, that's been really interesting, reconnecting with the local scene. Like, I just didn't know many people gave a fuck still, and, you know, people liked that I played the violin, and, you know, I think there are even some people who looked up to me as a screaming role model, which just blows my mind, but I was, and I still, and like even now, my technique is quite different. Like most of the chicks these days are doing fry screaming, although there is some false chording, but it's not, I don't know, something about my false chord sounds different to what they're doing. I don't know what it is. I tend to go for the more brutal rah-rah rather than, I don't know, whatever the other way is. Screaming vocab, like, it's getting better as people learn more about anatomy, but, yeah, if singing vocab has always been inconsistent, because you get classical people with classical concepts that don't quite match up with science, so yeah, it's a mess. But anyway, yeah, I guess like one more thought I had though. So I just want to revisit another thing from like with the music industry. One thing that a lot of musicians do, especially like when they're in an alternative genre where they can't make money very much from their passion, you know, the actual music they want to make, a lot of them will teach. And if you remember a while back, I had considered teaching screaming. But in the end, what happened with that is I just thought, you know what, like, there's a lot that I don't know and there's a lot that I don't understand still, and there are plenty of teachers who are better than me and who do have all the things that I'm missing. So, you know, Aliki, Tony Linky, Lauren of Orotech, they all have very good understanding of the anatomy to the point that I can't even understand what they're saying half the time. I understand enough that some of it has helped me, but then they just go beyond that and I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. I tried looking up CVT, I think, complete vocal technique, and I'm just like, this is too nerdy. I'm not that, I don't care that much. But yeah, and like, you know, Lauren in the local scene, cool. Finally, the local scene has someone who can actually teach screams, whereas when I was learning to scream, there was no one. Like, the best I could get was this guy with like vegan tattooed on his neck or his arm or something, and his method of screaming was just to get really angry and think about slaughtered animals, and I'm like, that doesn't teach me anything. And also, you said you're playing a major scale, that's actually a minor scale. Like, I knew more about music than him. So yeah, really cool that there are screaming teachers now, but I don't think they need me because they've got better than me. But one thing that was kind of interesting is, like, reconnecting with the music scene. Like, I was talking to people and realizing they're still in uni and they're, like, quite a lot younger than me. And so they're at the very, very beginning of their journeys. I'm like, maybe I could have something to teach, like, these young kids. You know, they're, like, 18, 19, just out of school. I don't know. But I still think there are better teachers. Just go see Lauren. You know, she's passionate. She cares more about people than I do. She wants to share things more than I do. She actually knows what she's talking about. So yeah, I kind of like, I didn't even know Lauren was doing that when I decided not to teach. But, you know, like you just watch Aliki and Tony Linky's videos. Like, even that is probably better than what I can give most people. I don't know. I'm just not passionate enough about it. So, like, even that doesn't really fit who I am, and the logistics of it, and trying to set things up, and having to deal with people. Like, it's a social thing you have to do. This is one of the things about the music industry, is so much of it is so social, and there's only so much that I can deal with, and I should save it for just trying to get myself a gig rather than trying to teach people and trying to get people to like my stuff. I just want to be on the stage. I know to some extent I have to promote, I have to make people like me to have more chance of getting on stage. But like, worst case scenario, I just hit up the open mics and terrorize them. I would like to get more back into my own scene though, because like open mics tend to only give you a very short time slot, so there's less. Like, you know, the Mosh Pit one was only 3 songs. That's the shortest gig I have ever played, like, even at uni. Although there was the Eternity one where I only did 1 song, so to be fair, there's that. But that was a special case. Yeah, no, it would be good to get on a stage, like, in the heavy scene, have a longer set, and then when I get off stage, sort of be with people who understand a bit more about what I'm doing instead of people who are like just bewildered by what I've done. I did get a lot of good feedback from the audience of Mosh Pit. Like, there were quite a few people who came and talked to me, and, you know, they liked what I'm doing and, you know, haven't heard that before and blah, blah. But it'd just be nice to be around the old crew, I guess, and yeah, people get it a bit more instead of just being like, wow, what just happened? As fun as that is. So that's my ramble. Oh, wow, I am not getting this video out tonight. It's too chaotic in life. Oh dear, my poor puppy. I hope he's okay. Cool. I think I made my point. I just can't do music and the music industry the way that the world wants me to. I have to do things my own way, and that means being chaotic and just going with whatever my brain decides next. So yeah, no TikTok, no Spotify for me. I think if I was ever to do that stuff, it would have to be like if in some bizarro world I did get successful enough that I needed like a proper PR team and like a manager. I do need a manager, but like who's gonna manage me? If I got big enough that like all that became a concern, it would have to be someone else doing it. Like, you know, they could post my shit, they could post my shit to TikTok, but they would have to say this account is managed by so-and-so and I'm not actually a part of it. That's probably the only way you could get me on TikTok, is if I had like someone who's authorized and like runs things by me before they post it and all that. And then with Spotify, I don't know if there's any way you could convince me. I mean, I suppose if I had a company behind me or whatever, maybe like a label or whatever, but none of that stuff. I'm not doing it myself. I am not participating myself. I am not participating willingly. If collaborators, if I'm in a band or if I'm collabing with someone and they want to do it, fair enough. I can compromise to that level. I just don't want to personally be involved. That is not me. And yeah, being me is my thing. Chaotic, authentic. I don't know, destroying the... What am I destroying? I feel like maybe every video I should claim to be destroying something. I mean, YouTube already thinks it's America because it misunderstands when I say, hi guys, I'm Destroy America, and then it'll say Destroy America. That is not what I'm saying, YouTube, whatever. And it's probably a dangerous thing for it to think I'm saying, given the way America's going. What am I destroying? I'm destroying the music industry's expectations of me and their demands of me. Right, now I'm done. Bye.